everyone just fill up the page for me.
Everyone's away from the
Sorted outside.
And then the ride up channel.
Hello, good evening everybody. Hi, you okay? Having a good evening so far?
Yeah.
Excellent, very good. So welcome to the behind the scenes tour of the legendary Nemesis Reborn ride. My name's Simon Horsley and I'm the head of entertainment and technical design, development and operations here at the Alton Towers Resort. And to my left hand side here is John Maudsley. John is our show control and systems engineer for the entertainment team, so myself and John work very closely on all these kind of projects. Between myself and John, we designed, commissioned and programmed the audio-visual system for the Nemesis Reborn ride and also the wider Forbidden Valley areas as well. So we'd like to take a few minutes just to tell you a little bit about the audio-visual system before you actually move on to the ride itself and have a look round behind the scenes on the actual ride itself. So AV or audio-visual, what do we mean by audio-visual? So it's themed lighting, background audio like you can hear around us at the moment, special effects like the smoke machines that you'll see around the ride, video systems, and we'll come on to the video systems in a minute, central show control systems as well that synchronize all of the audio-visual elements across the whole attraction and Forbidden Valley. Now the design for these elements takes place many months prior to the attraction actually opening. So we started discussing with John Burton in 2022 the kind of effects and the kind of AV systems that we'd be needing for this attraction. Once the designs are all carried out, it then takes a whole team of electricians, audio-visual specialists to install, pull all the cables in, rig the lighting, install the speakers, smoke machines, all that kind of thing. And that took around 5 months prior to the attraction actually opening. We use a centralised Ethernet-based network show control system for the ride and the whole Forbidden Valley area, so everything is centrally controlled. And where you're actually standing now is probably one of the central hubs where all of the cables run throughout the whole area of Forbidden Valley and the ride. So you'll notice some manholes in the ground here. There's one here and one just behind you, just over there. If we lifted those manholes, you'd see thousands of cables and ducts going everywhere to the different areas. So for example, we have a fibre optic cable that runs between here and the helicopter, right at the top end of Forbidden Valley, and also the shop just over the other side of Forbidden Valley. Everything is centrally linked, along with everything in the queue line as well. Moving on to the eye. Sorry to disappoint you, it's not actually a real eye, unfortunately. You probably worked that one out. It's actually a giant LED, custom-made curved LED video screen. It's unique to the Alton Towers Resort. There isn't another one like it anywhere else in the world. We had it designed by a custom manufacturer for us. And the resolution of the screen is actually 1068 by 1068 pixels. So if you actually laid it flat, that would be the resolution of the screen, which means that it contains over 1 million pixels in that screen. I've actually got an LED panel here, which is similar to how the screen's made up there. This is actually from the LED screens in the Wickerman ride, just over there. And each one of these tiny little squares here is an individual LED diode or light emitting diode or pixel. And basically each one of these pixels can change colour independently of any of the other pixels. And the video wall processor basically sends the signal into these tiles, and they're curved tiles, obviously not rectangular. And basically the processor knows which part of the video signal to send to which pixel to make it change colour, and that's what creates the overall image, is those pixels changing colour. The refresh rate on the screen is actually 60 frames per second, so basically the colours within those pixels are changing 60 times every second. That's faster than the human eye can actually recognise, so we don't register that the colours are changing 60 times every second. and that's why the eye seems to be seamlessly moving around rather than updating colours. So that's a little bit about the video screen. I'm going to hand over to John now, who's going to tell you a little bit more detail.
So the eye has 3 states. It's got the dormant state, which it's in now. It's got a waking up state and an angry state as the train passes overhead. The angry and the waking up states are triggered from the ride control system every time the train dispatches, and we get a signal from the ride controller, which sends a signal to our show controller, which then sends commands to the video playback, the audio system, the smoke machines, and the animated claws around the eye itself. The claws themselves have pneumatic actuators inside them. This is an example of one. The ones inside the claws there are bigger than that one. And then these are controlled by compressed air. When air goes in one end, it pushes the ram out, and when air goes in the other end, it pushes the ram back in. We also have an industrial high output smoke machine hidden in the top of the eye, and then the smoke from that passes through a compressed air system to really force the smoke onto the oncoming train. And the audio is synchronized with that to make the creature roar. And we also have a big sub speaker hidden in the base of the eye down there to really make the creature come alive. So hopefully that's given you a brief insight into the technology used within the theming elements of the attraction. And we have a few minutes now to take questions if anyone has any.
Do you know if that is going to move at some point? Because I've heard talk that it might be able to move or might move.
It might be able to move. We may have it moving, but I can't confirm that at the moment. So
That's a good answer.
that's a teaser. Any more questions? So that question was, do we ever get any kind of dead pixels in the screen or that kind of thing? The answer is yes. We did have one of the LED panels did actually fail quite early on after the attraction opened. And what we do is we have the company that we purchased the screen from has lots and lots of spare panels, just like this one or like those. And if a panel fails, we can actually access the eye to swap panels out, and we swap panels out. So they have lots of stocks of LED panels that we can just swap out if we need to, if a pixel does go or a panel goes. So yeah. Hello.
You know the design system when the smoke comes out, is that like similar to Wicker Man's when the fire comes out of it?
Say that, sorry, say that.
So you know like the design system kind of, so you know how when the train passes by,
Yeah, for the smoke,
comes out,
yeah.
is it similar to how Wicker Man's is when the train goes through, the fire comes out?
Yeah.
Right.
So that was just a question about the smoke system. Is it similar to the Wicker Man system when the smoke comes out of Wicker Man? In actual fact, the smoke machines that we use here are exactly the same manufacturer as the ones that we use in Wicker Man. So yeah, it's exactly the same system. Yeah.
Do you know how many universes or DMX channels are on the total system?
Now you're asking. So that question was a technical question about how many universes of DMX we use. It's 16 universes, because things like the pixel tube in the station are individual pixels for the tube. So it's 16 universes, which is 16 times 512. I can't work that out in my head, but if you work that out, that's how many channels we're actually using. Yeah. How many panels make up the eye? That's also a really good question, and one that I don't know the answer to. However, it's probably around about 50, maybe something like that. I don't actually know the answer, so that may be totally wrong. But I can find out if you want to grab my email address later, and you can. Yeah. Okay. Excellent.
Find the video that actually went into the eye. Who made or produced?
Who made the video?
Who used the video that actually made the eye?
The video was actually sourced through Merlin Creative. So I don't actually know who produced the video. It was all kind of sourced through Merlin Creative, and they kind of produced that in conjunction with a video company, so I don't actually know who produced that content, unfortunately.
The eye, when it gets angry, does that interact with the right dispatch? Is there a sensor on the right?
Okay, yeah, so that question was when the ride is triggered, does the eye start when the ride's triggered, or is there a sensor around the track that triggers the eye? It's actually triggered from the dispatch button. So when the ride operator presses the dispatch button and the train's sent out of the station, that's when the whole sequence starts, and the sequence is timed from when the train goes from dispatch up the lift hill and around. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, well, thank you very much for listening. Hope that's been informative. If you want to follow your phalanx operative, wherever your phalanx operative is, they're not there. If you want to follow me, then we will go around and we'll take you around to the actual ride itself.
My name's Sian, I'm head of PR here at Alton Towers Resort, and I sit in the Epic marketing team here. I'm here to talk to you a bit about our giant inflatable eye. Some of you may recognise the eye. It was the one used as our PR stunt back in February to announce the opening of Nemesis Reborn. Now, there is no question at all that if we'd have put out to the media the opening date for Nemesis Reborn, most of them would have run it. But we don't like to do anything by halves. So we wanted to do something really stand out and that would really get people talking and fans like you really excited about its return. We knew the eye was going to be a real focal point for the campaign. John and John talked about that. Our job was to figure out what on earth we were going to do with an eye that would get people talking. After much deliberation, we decided to create a giant eye, and we worked with Chinese lantern manufacturers to create the 7-metre eye that you see in front of you. The only difference today and what we did with it was it was filled with helium on the day of the stunt to help it float and give us the shot that we wanted, and today it's filled with air, but that is the only difference. Many of you will know that we floated the eye in Cannock Chase. We chose Cannock Chase because, for those that don't know, it is an area of outstanding beauty, but it's also known for weird and wonderful goings on. There has been alien sightings there and very supernatural things that happen, so it felt the perfect place for Nemesis Reborn to appear. But Cannock Chase wasn't always on the cards. We actually considered more than 25 locations before settling on Cannock Chase, and they weren't all above land. Some of them were the air, some of them were out at sea, and some of them were actually beneath the ground as well in caves. But we settled on Cannock Chase because it was in our heartland and it really gave an added value to the story that we wanted to tell about Nemesis Reborn and its return. The day we did the stunt in Cannock Chase wasn't plain sailing either. The wind conditions at 4 AM on a February morning were a bit challenging with a giant helium balloon. It took about a team of 15 down there. It included a camera crew, drone crew and photographer. The chap that photographed the eye on the day was Dave Parry, and for those that remember the giant doll's house we created over in London for the Curse at Alton Manor, it was the same photographer, and that man is worth his weight in gold. We were straight on the phone to him, we wanted him to photograph it, and he delivered some incredible shots. At one point I turned around, it was about 5:30 and he was in waders, in the water, in the freezing cold, just to get us the perfect shots that we wanted. Cannock Chase is open to members of the public, it's not a closed space. There was also a lot of wildlife, and there was a lot of deers and stags when we were doing the shoot, so that was incredible. But also members of the public doing their morning running cycle. It meant that, even though we tried to wrap it up really quick as soon as the sun came up, or the daylight, a lady that was happily, merrily going on her cycle early in the morning nearly kiboshed the whole thing, went starstruck by a giant eye in the middle of Cannock Chase, decided to post it on a local forum on Facebook. I have never seen a team edit video and photos so fast in a brewer's fair to get the photos out to media before this really took hold. It was an incredible morning, team of 15 like I say, incredibly proud of everyone and everything that they did. And it meant that the coverage for the Eye was the equivalent of every single person in the UK seeing it on more than one occasion. I think we got up to 7 times. It was an incredible thing, absolute career highlight. And has anyone got any questions? Oh, you're all... Nobody? Oh, wow, okay.
Thank you very much. I really hope you have a wonderful time. And I'm just going to send 20 through now. Enjoy.
Thank you. Thanks.
Hi guys, make your way all the way down, please. That's for Kevin Reed, that one.
Picture of you.
I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the lift hill today. So before we start, I have a question. How many stairs do you think are on each side of this lift hill? 9. 9. Does anyone have any guesses? Anyone? Yeah? A little bit less. Close.
108.
108. A little bit more, a little bit more.
150.
Final guess, someone guess.
142.
3.
You're the closest, so it's 144 steps on each side. Every morning, as the operator, we have to walk up them and then down them.
I saw you walking up there this morning.
I did walk it this morning, yeah. Did you see me get out of bed and stop halfway? So what we have to do is check that the lift chain is in good working condition, that there's no one where they shouldn't be, so like any unauthorised personnel in the ride area, that all the effects are working, the e-stops are pressed, all the gates are closed and stuff like that, to make sure that the ride is safe for opening. To talk to you a bit about the chain, right above you we have something called feeder wheels. Feeder wheels only move sideways and they only allow for a train to go forwards, not backwards, and what they do is allow the train to engage with the lift hill. If you have a look at the jagged things, they're called lift dogs. There's also a set of them on the train, and what they do is they connect like a jigsaw and again allow for the train to go onto the lift. A little bit further down you see the metal chain, that's called the lift chain. What that does again is bring the train up the lift. You also have something called anti-rollbacks, which engage with the anti-rollback dogs on the train. And if you've ever, well, I'm sure you've all been on Nemesis, you get that little clunk clunk sound, that's the anti-rollbacks working, making sure the train doesn't roll backwards. A bit more about the lift, you've got that panel over there. You've got 2 buttons that we're allowed to use. So the first one is the big red flashing button, it's the emergency stop button. That's ever pressed, it cuts off all power to the ride. Then below it, you have the lift jog button. That has to be pressed in conjunction with the lift jog button in the operator's cabin, and it gives power to the lift if we ever have to stop it for a phone or something. And then there's 2 more buttons below it. I don't know what the 4th one is, but the 3rd one is the feeder jog button, and only tech services can press that. Next to it, we also have the A-phone box. That's those little white phones, you might see hosts on them, and they just allow for internal communications. Also in the middle we have the lift evacuation platform, and what that does in means of an assisted exit. If the train ever stops on the lift and we need to get you guys off, what we do is we'd lift that out, and it's got like little screws in it, and we'd carry it to wherever we need it and hook it onto the train, and that allows for us to get you guys off. We use that with this is the manual release bar. It goes in the manual release peg on the side of the train, and it allows for the harnesses to be manually released. These are interlocked into the ride system, so if this key is missing from the ride, if I don't put this back and take this home with me, the ride will not start tomorrow without it. It's a massive safety feature. We have loads of these keys for like ride area gates and stuff like that. If one of them's ever missing, the ride will not go. I think that's everything, unless anyone has any more questions. Did you know the lift chain is the same lift chain from the original Nemesis? I didn't know that, but that's it.
it's still going strong.
Still going strong, perfect condition, they kept it. I also heard that someone also said it's not true, but I don't know, I'll tell you. That corrugated metal over there is the same corrugated metal from the old floor pattern, from old Nemesis. Someone said, I don't know if it's true or not.
Is the control panel the same control panel?
Control panel is completely new.
Has it been modernised?
It's been 1000% modernised. It's American as well. It tells me to have a nice day. So
Can you do the voice?
It doesn't speak. It just says
Oh, okay.
the smiley face.
I think it's American. Have a nice day.
It's the similar one to Galacticus. They've got the exact same control panels now. Yeah, it's much more simple to use, I think.
Cool. I think I remember I did a tour of the original one about 16, 17 years ago or something, or maybe longer, and it was the communication device at the end was an old 13.4 modem or something.
Yeah, no, I've been told that before the Microsoft one. Yeah, that's the computer room now. We've definitely had a new computer. Don't play picture. I said that.
Something.
Yeah,
really
I said they should
good.
put it up for his dad.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Come on down, guys.
About the operation of the ride, our day-to-day base operations, and anything on this panel. You can't go in, but you can sort of lean over, take some photos, have a look, and then let me know anything you want to ask. To the inside of Nemesis Reborn. Have we gone through this? So you've got people in the garage, you've got people in the garage to put their logs in.
I may just give you a lift.
That'll tell us what seats the seats in each seat. Yep. There's nothing in the station reading it. So if it's green, it's going through the red, it means cycling.
That's each seat. So it'll go green when the restraint's down. So then when they say 3 seat 1, whatever.
Some bits are inside.
Hopefully they're okay for you. Can I just head out there with your eyes up, guys? We can check out on your way.
Yeah, so the operator has a timer on the panel. So as soon as the train
Maybe we'll get it out of the kitchen, you know, and like it to use as much as possible.
What? Really?
It's probably about the same height, isn't it? With both of them together. I don't know. I will be doing it next week. Yeah, that's really fast. Versus fast.
So welcome folks, this is the break area, if you're new here. Where the train's currently parked right now, you're in the magnetic brakes, you're in the magnetic brakes, so it goes down to 2.5 meters per second in speed. So it'll basically slow it down for a bit, and then this part, it's got no feeder wheels, so it will gravitationally fall. It'll slowly make its way to the feeder wheels, so there's nothing here to stop it. It'll slowly make its way to the first feeder wheels. You have 13 sets going all the way down. You have air compressed brakes as well, which are the bronze at the side, which will go to it. And then after that you have a transfer track which add and remove trains to the system, which obviously connects to the one in the garage. The green proximity switches allows me to know where the train is as it comes through each section. Unlike the old Nemesis, we could send it when it was here or going around the loop. However, this one will allow us to send it when it's here. We cannot send it when it's not here, just for spacing. If we do end up sending it, it'll stop itself on the lift and it'll space itself, and then we just lift start it again and crack on.
So, do you know when the ride calls onto the magnetic brakes? I'm guessing the sensors.
Yeah, so the green sensors, so we have proc switches, also the magnetic